The Cat's Whiskers podcast is proudly sponsored by the Bunkers Hill Hockley. Don't miss Panthers game day offers, including Coors Light at £2.50 a pint. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Cat's Whiskers podcast. My name is Jono Bullard. Joining me tonight are Tina Taylor.
Hiya.
And Antoine Marie-Jeanne.
Good evening.
We're going to be looking back on Panthers weekend, defeats to the Manchester Storm in the Challenge Cup and Five Flyers in the Elite League. We'll be looking at the Player of the Week for last week, which we didn't get a chance to do because we broadcast early. The Player of the Week for this week and also the Player of the Month. We'll have the other Elite League results and news, and we've also got two interview segments with Panthers players from last week's quiz night. So 10 players interviewed overall. You can stay tuned for that. If you want to get in touch with us during the show, please do via Twitter. It's at Cat's Whiskers TV. We would love to hear from you while we are on air. However, we will start with the game against the Manchester Storm on Saturday, a dead rubber Challenge Cup game. Everything had been decided, so it was really just for places and who could be picked. Storm couldn't qualify. Panthers had already qualified. Storm coming away with a 5-3 victory. Storm goal scorers were Becker, Moffat with a hat-trick and Stanzis. Panther scorers Mark Delago, Jeff Brown and Robert Farmer. Also, Sam Gospel was given the start in goal. Tina, you were at the game. How did he do?
He was great. I was dead chuffed for him getting the start anyway. The speculation was rife that he was going to. The article from the Evening Post and I think the Panthers press release as well both said he was going to start. I was really excited for that, and also the inclusion of all our under 23 Brits as well. So, I booked the tickets for that game before we beat Braehead. So it was still, a game that might have had something on it, at least for us. Gospel was good. My only potential slight criticism is maybe sort of looking at his rebounds. To counter that, the Storm were very good with the weight of the pucks they put on him, because he had very little he could do with them. They weren't putting any pucks full tilt on him, so there was absolutely no inertia on them for him to just push them to the corner or whatever. They're just like putting nice little pucks on him, so all he could do was sort of firefight, and then there's a very tasty rebound waiting for somebody to come and slot in. Apart from one particular save in the third period, which it was stunning, absolutely stunning. He was looked to be committed to one post, sailed over to the other, and it was absolutely fantastic. So we know we've got a good backup netminder in Sam Gospel. We know that he's decent, and he definitely showed it. Despite conceding 5 goals, he definitely showed that he's got quality and he's got promise.
And despite the defeat, it's good that the youngsters got a lot of ice time.
It's fantastic. We were very pleased, I think, with the signings that we made pre-season, with the likes of Gospel, and then bringing in Tetlow, Kelsall and Hazeldine. And I know Tetlow and Kelsall got some shifts in the, whether they're dressed for some of the CHL games. And Gospel obviously started that first Challenge Cup game against Sheffield, but game time's invaluable, especially at the top level. So the fact that we were in that position where we'd already qualified, there was nothing riding on the game. Like Corey said, it wasn't just about blooding the younger Brits, it was about giving other players chance to play in different positions, getting different people on the power play. And look, we scored 2 power play goals. Our first 2 power play goals of the Challenge Cup. So, yes, we lost the game. It meant nothing. It was basically a glorified pre-season friendly.
Tina, 2 out of 3 power play opportunities taken. It's that part of the game starting to improve.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't read too much into it for Saturday because, we had all sorts of different combinations. I mean, one of our power play goals was scored by Rob Farmer, who would never normally see special teams time full stop. But it turned out to be a worthwhile experiment. It was good to see something different going on. I mean, it still looked a little bit static, but put some fresh people on there, you get some fresh ideas going on, and sometimes it can bear fruit. As to use him as an example again, as Robert Farmer proved. But yeah, that doesn't matter how you get the power play goals. As long as you can capitalise, and 2 for 3 on the night is pretty tidy, if you ask me.
Yeah. What about Manchester, though? I mean, how did they look? Because they started with Clemente. I think they was looking for a confidence-boosting victory, and they got it. And Moffat getting a hat-trick as well.
Yeah, he was just something else on Saturday night. He just kept popping up and in the right place. He knew where he needed to be, and I can't remember exactly, but I think they were, all of his goals were scored, within like 2 or 3 strides away from the net. So, he was definitely a bit of a poacher. But yeah, Storm in general, they were high energy, they were well organised. They obviously wanted to take it fairly seriously, with Clemente taking 2 periods, and then they put Ryan in after that, and he, he was pretty tidy as well. I think he tweeted after the game, just sort of saying something along the lines of, just not nice to see my old goalie partner getting a start and doing all right. So yeah, they definitely wanted to use the game properly, I think, for want of a better way of putting it. But yeah, they were. It's no fluke that they are where they are in the table. They're missing bodies. They've got a couple of injuries. They had Rosil on a suspension. So, and they still managed to come up with the win. Granted against us with a bit of youth and inexperience in our team, but they still took their opportunities, and I think they got what they wanted out of the game.
Okay, we shall leave Saturday night there and move on to Sunday, an Elite League game at the NIC. Panthers taking on the Fife Flyers. Fife Flyers coming away with a 5-4 overtime victory. Panthers goals coming from Mark Delago, Josh Schaller, Brett Pellini and David Clark on the power play. Fife's goals from Peter LeBlanc on the power play. Ian Young with 2, including the overtime winner. Danik Gauthier and Chase Shaver also scoring. So this was probably quite a strange game, to say the least. Panthers with a fantastic start, 3-0 up in 13 minutes, and then it all went wrong, Ant.
You could say that. I think I saw Lee Beaumont put something on his Facebook, I think it was, about we didn't take a foot off the gas. We turned the engine off and got out the car. And that was apt, because you look at the third period, I think we had 3 shots on goal in the third period and overtime altogether. So, which is disappointing, because we saw what they did to Cardiff. I mean, they banged on all week about the power play and how dangerous they were and how to limit their opportunities, yet they got 1 power play goal, and if I remember rightly, 2 of their goals came literally as our player came back on the ice as well, within seconds of the power play finishing. So yeah, it was weird, because like you say, we were we were cruising. We're 3-0 up.
Not only that as well, I thought Fife, certainly for the first period at least, looked like they'd never met.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was also down to the way we played. I mean, you just look at the first goal; it's a huge hit is laid on. Basically puts their defender on the ice, leaves the space in the middle for the finish. And we played the body, we played physical. Fife couldn't keep, they couldn't play with us. And then I don't know what happened halfway through the game. We just decided, we've done this, we've won this now already, and that's dangerous to do against anybody. But as we've seen with Fife already this season, if you give them an inch, and they'll take it.
Tina, should we have been more prepared for a late Fife surge, given their result against Cardiff in Cardiff last week?
Yeah, definitely. Even after we found ourselves 3-0 up, I just had it in the back of my mind. I thought that result against Cardiff, they were what, 4 goals down at that point. It's not insurmountable for them, and that kind of a win can carry you through to your next set of games. So if you do happen to find yourself 2, 3, 4 goals down, you look back on those results and you go, well, we've done it before, so come on, we can do it again. And they're having a little spell as the comeback kings right now. So we really should have seen it coming. And I don't know if I sort of agree with what Ant said in terms of the we switched off. It was almost like Fife switched on and we didn't know what to do with them. It was like the table sort of turned, where and I do agree, that we had the best of it in the certainly in the first sort of 15 minutes, but yeah, it sort of gets to, well, I think that one goal that they scored towards the end of the first, I think that was very telling. It was kind of against the run of play. I felt like it was at the time, and that to me was the point where I just sort of thought, yeah, that could be trouble. That could be the start of them making their comeback. We could be about to witness what happened at Ice Arena Wales last week, and lo and behold, that's exactly what it did.
Some injury worries for the Panthers. Alexander Moksantsev taking a puck to the face from Steve Lee, but did return in the second period. However, Dan Spang left the game early, and Matthew Brisebois didn't even start the game. He missed the game in Manchester as well. So, yeah, we've been lucky with injuries so far. Are they creeping in a little bit, Ant?
I hope not. Because we've seen what it's done to our seasons in the last few years. It's a shame, especially about Brisebois, because obviously he missed the start of the season through an injury which they didn't disclose, and then he's come in, and I thought it's very no nonsense. He just gets on with his job and he's very solid, and I like the look of him, and it was disappointing. And I suppose then to lose Spang and then Moksantsev for part of the game as well, would not called up Tetlow or Hazeldine or Kelsall for the game. So yeah, we were a bit short. So I was a bit surprised, and I saw somebody else mention it, I can't remember where, that they were surprised that Mosey didn't drop back onto D as well as Lindhagen to sort of give us that little bit extra.
I think though that Evan Mosey offers far more up front, especially with his speed.
Well, yeah, definitely.
I would say so. I'd agree with that.
And I think 5 defensemen. However, I must admit, Jan Sauve, he never seemed like he left the ice.
No, well, yeah. I mean, he was by a country mile. He was the ice time leader for our CHL games, so it's no surprise that we absolutely completely lent on him for that. Just to sort of throw that off on a bit of a tangent. I mean, obviously the two bigger injury worries, I suppose. With Moksantsev coming back, you'd like to think that it was sort of it was superficial, or or he's got time to recover from taking that puck to the face. But if we've lost 2 in defence and we've got a fairly big weekend coming up, I just wonder what the arrangements are in terms of who gets first dibs on Tetlow, because this would be an ideal opportunity. I mean, not ideal. It would be an opportunity. Maybe not the best weekend to throw him into it. With playing the Steelers and then up to Braehead. But it would certainly help. I would rather go in with with a full complement of bodies on defence, albeit that Lindhagen would have to drop back if we still didn't have those two guys. I'd rather go in with a full complement of bodies with a little bit of inexperience rather than face the Steelers and the Clan, who seem to almost be finding their feet at the moment with 5 defencemen. I think we've got to make sure the defence is okay. So that would be my that would just be my sort of, I don't know, thought process, I suppose.
What about Fife then? I mean, they're looking a good team. There was missing Bloodoff, who was their top scorer, and obviously we thought they were there for the taking when they went 3-0 down. However, you've got to give them a lot of credit that it was an incredibly spirited fight back, and I think once they got that equaliser with a minute to go, I think there was only ever going to be one winner in overtime, despite our overtime record. Do you think that's fair, Ant?
Not. I don't buy into that totally. Like I say, with our overtime record this season was exceptional, and we've gone into some of those overtime periods looking the worse for wear, should you say. This is like, okay, we've got a point here, that's a bonus. It was just a moment of, it was just a lapse, really, wasn't it, from Sauvé, who he tries a move that doesn't pull off. If he pulls it off, he looks like the world's greatest player. It's disappointing, but yeah, I mean, I had no qualms about Fife winning the game at the end. I mean, they thoroughly deserved it, and they're a very good team. I especially was it Gauthier got man of the match?
Yes, I think
for them. Yeah, I mean, I thought he was excellent, and that they have. It's almost like a typical Fife team in that they're quite small, but they're quick, and they've got that sort of never say die attitude. So, yes, it was disappointing to lose, but we got a point. So 1 point more than Cardiff got against the same game, in their game against them the previous week. So, and we've been on a fantastic run. So we hope they learn from it and we move on.
Yeah. On that, there was some strange comments, I'll say, on social media. It was almost as if we'd lost a game, and the old negativity comes out once again, and people were saying, "Oh, it's terrible," blah 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 blah. But looking at the table, we are second in the league on regulation wins behind Belfast, who have played 4 games more than us. We have a win percentage of 0.794. The next best is the Manchester Storm on 0.667. We've lost 4 games overall, one of those in overtime. The next best is 6, which is jointly held by Manchester, Cardiff, and opponents yesterday, the Fife Flyers. We've dropped 7 points all season in 17 games. Why are people worrying? I don't understand why people have come out the way they have. If we'd lost a lot more games, I get it. Yeah. But yeah, those stats I've just read out, we are by far and away the best team in the league at the minute. Surely.
I don't think it's worry. I think we've been spoiled. We've had an epic run in the CHL, yet we've started pretty well domestically as well. And as you say, we're in pretty good position in the league table. So I think we've been spoiled, and I think one thing that doesn't help is the disparity between how many games each team has played, because that it doesn't really tell the full story. I mean, if you look at the table without any sort of context, you're just seeing us as being second place, and we've just lost a game that, all right. I mean, we started off really well. With three goals up, in what felt like a heartbeat, and you'd think that we were just going to cruise to a win, but we just couldn't keep that intensity in the game. So, I mean, somebody replied to your tweet yesterday, Jono, and they said it was the manner in which we lost. I mean, I get that to a certain extent. You know, I mean, if you score 3 goals that early on in the game, you kind of expect that momentum to carry you through, and you know, you're going to absolutely steamroll the team. But it didn't happen like that. You know, we watched a bit of a mini collapse. You know, a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? But yeah, what we watched was not the 60-minute performance that we wanted to see, and not the 60-minute performance we've been treated to in an awful lot of games to start our entire season. You know, the CHL included. So, but yeah, I think when you sort of do a little bit more number crunching, I mean, just to back you up, Jono, I mean, I've sort of been trying to, you know, pull all my usual graphs and stuff together today, and I'm quite had time. So, but one of the things I did manage to put together is the potential points that everybody still has up for grabs. We still have the potential. It's not going to happen, but if we were to win every single league game from here until the end of the season, we would still end up with 101 points. There are only 2 teams that are anywhere close to. It's 3 teams that are sort of close to us, but the 2 teams who are behind us, I believe it's Fife and Manchester. Their potential maximum points haul is 96. So there is a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a cushion, but you know, there's a little bit of a gap there, and you know, you have to sort of look not just on the face of it. You have to look sort of behind the numbers, as it were. We're in a fantastic position. We still have the potential to have a really, really good league campaign. And like one of the things you said last night, Jono, maybe this is our Edinburgh moment.
Yes. And I'll come to you. Is it our Edinburgh moment? Because, of course, for those who don't know what we're talking about, Panthers in the 2012-13 league-winning season lost to Edinburgh in early December. And that almost proved to be the kick up the backside that the team needed, and they went on and won the league. Is this our Edinburgh moment?
I don't know if we've got that, because obviously the Edinburgh game was we were just terrible, and Captain Fantastic at the time, Jordan Fox, came out and said as much, and he was brutally honest. And we've not had anybody sort of come out and say that from the club, bluntly, if you like. It's been more of a case of, okay, yeah, we dropped ball here, we need to be better. I hope it's our Edinburgh moment, because I don't think we lost another game until the hangover game in Belfast, did we? It was a fantastic run, but we shall see. I mean, I know we're going to come on to it later, but it's a pretty big weekend ahead, so let's get back on it.
Okay, we shall leave the weekend there for the moment. But last Tuesday was the Panthers quiz night. Tina and Ant were there, along with other members of the Cat's Whiskers, and managed to speak to a few of the players. We've got 2 sets of interviews to come. In this first set, you'll hear from Jan Sauvé, Matthew Brisebois, Sam Gospel, Josh Schaller, and first off, it's Robert Farmer.
The Cat's Whiskers managed to grab a table at the quiz night, and we were lucky enough to, in the draft, be given the awesome brain of Robert Farmer. So first of all, Rob, thank you very much for your help in the quiz.
Yeah, it's nice to be here and good table.
First of all, just want to have a look back on your thoughts regarding the CHL. We had an awful lot of fun with it. How was it for you guys?
Yeah, I think we obviously had a great time with it, and as we progressed, we got more confident, and yeah, the results were great, and a little bit disappointing how it ended. I think we all thought we had a good chance to beat that team at home, but yeah, all in all, great experience, and yeah.
I mean, going into the game at Zurich, one thing we all said is if we could keep it to within 1 or 2 goals, bringing it home, we probably had a chance. Would you say that's probably a fair assessment throughout the team and how they felt as well?
Well, I think we honestly just looked at it the same way we looked at all the games. We were just worried about ourselves, and those teams are so good that if you can't think like that. So we just did what we've been doing the whole time, and we managed to. We were disappointed in Zurich because we conceded a late goal, but yeah, ultimately we put in a good performance there, and yeah, it just didn't work out at home.
So now we come back to focus on domestic issues. We've obviously qualified for the Challenge Cup with a game to spare, and it's now just a sort of bit of jostling for position. And domestically speaking, top of the league at this end of the season. Can't read too much into it, but it's obviously a good place to be right now.
Yeah, well, that's where we want to be. We've had a good run here. We've managed to pull some results out, and yeah, we're trying to keep that going.
With Josh Schaller, Mr. CHL top scorer. So I'm going to ask you about that first. Obviously, you're having to wear that top scorer jersey. Did you think that singled you out a bit more? Did you get any more sort of attention from the opposition, D?
No, the CHL wasn't that rough. We weren't allowed to even talk to other teams after the whistle, so I don't think it brought any more attention.
So obviously, that was probably the highlight of the season so far, the whole CHL run. How are you settling into the team so far? Things Nottingham treating you okay?
Yeah, I love it here. We have such a good group of guys. After this season, I'm just, I'm a little snake bit right now, getting a little frustrated, but hopefully it comes around. But we keep winning games, and that's all that matters right now.
Well, this is one thing we're noticing, is like we scored 7 on Sunday, 7 different goal scorers. There seems to be a theme that we've not got anybody in the sort of the top of the charts of scoring wise, but everybody seems to be contributing.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. If we can put 7 in with 7 different scorers, we're not going to lose too many games. And that's the fun about this team. Anybody can do it any other night, and you don't have to rely on anybody. And if everybody's going, it's going to be impossible to stop.
So I've managed to grab a few words with our backup netminder, Sam Gospel. Now, Sam, how's Hull been treating you?
Great. No, they're a great club, and I know a few of the players up there, and I'm having a lot of fun.
Any idea what the situation might be come this Saturday? Because we've obviously already qualified for the Challenge Cup, so speculation is rife that we might see you starting. Any news on that at all?
I can't comment, but but I'll be pumped if I get the start, and it'll be great.
Just want to get your thoughts on where we are at the moment in terms of domestic competition. Obviously, the CHL is now finished, so we're now concentrating on matters at home. Top of the league, as I've already said, qualified for the Challenge Cup. It's a pretty good time to be a Panthers fan or player right now.
Definitely, we're in a great spot. The boys are rolling, great dressing room, spirits are high. It's great.
I am joined by Mathieu Brisbois. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, brilliant. So, welcome to Nottingham. We didn't get a chance to chat to you at the games night, but how are you settling in to the team so far?
Really good. I mean, everything in town is perfect. The fans are good with us, so it's pretty easy to settle in.
And how are you finding the city?
I really enjoy it so far.
We had a fantastic CHL run, which I think united not only the Panthers fan base, but the Elite League as a whole. I mean, any particular highlights from that?
I mean, just passing the first round of the CHL, it's something incredible. And being first of the normal schedule, it's great so far. Hopefully it's going to keep going.
Very popular man at the Panthers quiz night, but I've managed to grab a few words with Jan Sauvé. Jan, first question I want to ask, cast your mind back to the game at Milton Keynes. That goal, did you mean it?
Of course I meant it. Everybody thinks I dropped the puck, but it was, I know, but I just put all that move and it went in, and it was good. It was a good goal.
Well, we certainly thought so. CHL campaign, obviously that's now come to an end. How was that for you guys?
It was awesome. It was a great experience for everyone. Just to show that Nottingham Panthers could have competed with any best team in the world, and we did good. You know what? Going through as far as we did, we got to be proud of it, and we got to learn from that too.
So everything that we've learnt in the CHL campaign, obviously we can bring that home to the domestic campaign now, and top of the league at the moment, so it's a pretty good place to be.
That's where we have to be. I mean, we're if you look at it, we're the best team, and we got to be up top, and that's where we're going to stand, and we got to play every game like we want to be on top, and it's gonna be like that all year.
So I've not managed to squeeze any information out of him, but obviously with us already having qualified for the Challenge Cup, there are rumours abound that Sam Gospel may get the start. So does that make the team approach the game any differently?
I haven't heard anything really, but if Sam is in net, he's a great goalie. I think he came out a few times for us during the season, and he played well. So I think the team's going to play the same tactics, same way that we use with Garney or Patner in net. So there's no other ways to play.
And how are you feeling with the domestic campaign at the moment? So is the team riding the wave at the moment?
I mean, with the CHL, I think we're playing really well. We're winning games. We're first right now, but I don't think we haven't played our best hockey, and we're winning games. So that's the most important thing. But everything is coming really nice, and you see it in practice. Everybody competes and wants to win games. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season, and it's going to be really exciting.
And just one final thing, obviously you're championing the Movember campaign. You have a story, you have a personal connection to this. And how's everybody's Mo going?
It's doing pretty good. I don't think everyone is doing it. Mosey joined in a little bit later. It's not bad. I think mine's the best. But no, it's good. The guys jumped in. I brought it to the guys because of my story, and I feel connected to it. And the fans and all the people did a great job to raise money. And I gotta say, Stevie Lee brought the bucket the last game. Yep. And he brought the idea, and I can't thank him more for that, because it was a great idea, and we raised. We're gonna come out for the amount that we raised for the Movember on soon. I gotta talk to Stevie so he tells me the amount, but we'll post it on Twitter, and it's a good amount, and we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, so it's a great cause to be involved with. I'm really glad the Panthers are doing it again, and well done you for championing that. Thanks very much for talking to me, Jan.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rob Lakovich, and you're listening to the Cats Whiskers podcast.
Thanks very much, Rob. You are indeed listening to the Cats Whiskers podcast. If you still would like to get in touch with us while we are live tonight, you can do via Twitter at Cats Whiskers TV. If you are listening live and anything you would like to add, we are going to move on to our Player of the Week and Player of the Month. But first, the Player of the Week for last week, because unfortunately we missed it because it was an early podcast last Sunday that I unfortunately wasn't involved with, but sounded a cracker in the Bunkers Hill Inn. So have a listen to that on iTunes if you possibly can. So
and also just see if you can spot the scale of drunkenness as it goes on.
Yes, the pub cast,
what you were talking about,
as we called it, I think. So the Player of the Week for last week, in joint second place we had Zach Phillips and Jan Sauvé, and the Player of the Week for last week was Mark Delago. So congratulations to Mark. I think that is his first Player of the Week award. The Player of the Week for this week, in third place, Mark Delago. So congratulations to you, Mark. In second place, and well deserved, Sam Gospel, after starting in Manchester on Saturday night. And in first place this week, here's the drum roll, it is our British forward, Brett Pelini. Congratulations, Brett, on, I think it's his first Player of the Week title this season as well. We are going to move on to the Player of the Month. And in third place, defenseman Jan Sauvé. In second place, forward Zach Phillips, who has had a quite excellent month. And in first place, and from all the votes collated from your Player of the Week polls over the month of November, it is For the second month running, netminder Patrick Galbraith takes the title. Tina, well deserved.
Yeah, I would say so. We've again. I'm going to use that word. We have been spoilt with the riches of goaltending. That might sound a little bit cheesy and cliched and such, but yeah, we have got 3 fantastic netminders who've done a great job in all the games that they've been involved in, and I think Galbraith he's definitely made a statement on, he's like I sort of said to him, spoiler alert, he had a baptism. Okay, that was shows how much I listen. He had a baptism of fire over in Turku, and fine, it was a loss, but whatever, we'd already qualified, and since then he's just he hasn't disappointed. He's been brilliant, so yeah, very well deserved.
Okay, we will move on to the rest of the Elite League results and news. So the results from Saturday night: Giants beating the Coventry Blaze at the Sky Dome in overtime 5-4. Guildford Flames with a shutout victory in Dundee against the Stars 5-0. Milton Keynes Lightning with what can only be described as an utter mullering of the Steelers, 7-2 that finished. The Braehead Clan with another utter mullering, this time of the Edinburgh Capitals, 8-2. And the Cardiff Devils winning 4-3 in a close fought match in Fife against the Flyers. On Sunday, the Steelers bounced back with a 3-1 victory over the Coventry Blaze. The Giants with a 4-point weekend and a shootout victory, this time at Ice Arena Wales against the Cardiff Devils. The Edinburgh Capitals with another win. They got a 5-3 victory against the Dundee Stars, and the Guildford Flames completing a 4-point weekend with a 7-3 victory against the victors against the Steelers and Milton Keynes Lightning. However, in the Steelers Blaze game, Zach Fitzgerald left the game early and was taken to hospital after taking a puck to the face. We would like to wish him all the best from everyone here at the podcast. Not a nice injury at all, and hope he is okay. Sticking with the Steelers, Paul Thompson has been in the press in the Sheffield Star, criticising keyboard warriors for abuse on social media after they were beaten 7-2 by the Milton Keynes Lightning. Now, I must admit, on Saturday night, after finishing up in Belfast and packing everything away and getting to bed just before 2 in the morning, I did have to have a look at Steel Talk afterwards. I know it's a guilty pleasure, but it's always fun when they lose.
You're such a bad man.
I know, but it is always a fun forum when they lose because they just go off at the deep end. However, do you think that Paul Thompson is under a bit of pressure now, Ant?
Well, it's not been a fantastic start to the season, has it? But we still are. We're still in November. There's still a long way to go, and they're always going to be a danger. They're always going to be there. So I think their biggest issue for me is the lack of replacements that they're bringing in. They've been 5D for the last few weeks now, and that's going to take a toll. And we saw what it did to us last year when we didn't bring replacements in. It's going to take a toll. You've got players who are already playing hurt by all accounts, are playing longer shifts. So I don't know whether it's down to Thompson or whether it's higher above that they've not got the players in, or maybe Thompson wants to sign players that don't actually fancy coming to the Elite League yet. I don't know. But yeah, certainly he needs some help, and he needs the backing from his fan base. Because I think he is going to be a little bit under pressure, despite it being so early on in the season.
I mean, Tina, what do you make of Paul Thompson's comments about so-called keyboard warriors? He's quoting directly from the article. He says, "Social media means nothing to me. Most of the people who criticise managers and coaches in hockey have never skated, never had a stick in their hands, and never been to the coalface. People are conducting witch hunts. Somebody showed me the other day some remarks about Danny Stewart, and they were so vindictive, it was sickening." What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, first of all, on a sort of slightly light-hearted note, if social media means nothing to him, how does he know? just if he doesn't have any social media accounts, then how does he know what's being said? If the point of not having social media accounts is so that you don't see it. That's just maybe me being a little bit too simplistic, but to sort of get back to the actual content of all of that, I get it. People are horrible, and there's when your team lose, you can see all sorts of vitriol. I mean, let's be right about this. That sort of thing is not limited to the Steelers. That can be fan bases up and down the country, all sports. You've got your people who are the doom mongers. All they see is the doom and gloom. They can't see anything good, even when it comes up to them and slaps them in the face. There are some people who I have seen on various social medias who cannot bring themselves to say anything good, and sometimes that's about their own club, which is just ridiculous. And I don't know
why the Cage Forum crossed my mind there. Obviously a coincidence.
I can't think. Well, again, I mean, it's just people are horrible, quite frankly. I mean, the other thing is we care. We are fans. We are passionate. We love our team dearly, and we don't want to see it fail ever. And the Steelers are sort of similar to us in the sense that they expect the best. They expect excellence. They expect to win all the time. You do have those sort of demands placed on you when you are a successful organisation. There is absolutely no need to get into personal comments. There's no need to conduct witch hunts. If your team loses, your team loses, and the players and the coach will feel it more than anybody else. I think, because they're in it and they're involved in it. One thing I will say is I disagree with Paul Thompson dismissing the opinions of fans, of people, so-called keyboard warriors. Your keyboard warriors take many forms. Some of them are vitriolic. Some of them have knowledge, maybe through having played. Maybe not at that sort of level, but having played. Some will have knowledge through many, many years of watching hockey. Some will have knowledge just because they just get it. They just absolutely get it. So that part I absolutely wholeheartedly disagree with. If you support a team, in all walks of life, this is not limited to sport. You are entitled to your opinion, but at the same time, you have absolutely no right to be vitriolic and personal towards another human being. So I think the key point is, if you're going to criticise, be constructive with it and be a little bit gracious as well. I mean, this kind of thing comes out of defeats, and sometimes you have to recognise that the other team was just better than you, and some fans have a very hard time grasping that.
Okay, can I just mention a point on that? The only thing I didn't like about the Thompson thing was that line, and it gets used quite a lot, and you see it on forums as well by people that are blindly defending the club regardless. It's the whole you've not played the game, you don't have a right to an opinion thing. That's the only bit on that I behave yourself, Tomo. Come on. But moving on, it's Friendship 4 at the weekend. Took place in Belfast. Our very own Jono Bullard was there as part of the media crew. Jono, did you have a good time?
Loved it. Loved it. It's Busman's holiday. It's fantastic. I love going to work on ice hockey gigs because it's the game I love. I got to see some quality hockey by 4 quality North American college teams. It's and also speak to some great people and some really great coaches. One of them busted my gonads a bit. He clearly didn't like being interviewed, but the answer he gave to my final question to him after they won the third place playoff, this was Maine coach Red Gendron. He gave an absolutely wonderful answer about the experience that they'd had, and if any Northern Ireland Tourism Board was looking at that interview, they would just take that answer and that would just perfectly advertise Belfast. It was just brilliant. So I forgave him a bit after that. But no, it was a wonderful weekend. Full credit to Robert Fitzpatrick, the owner of the Giants, and Mark Brooks and Shane Johnson. Just a fantastically organised tournament once again, and an absolute pleasure to work on. And Clarkson University deservedly taking the title. A team unbeaten in November. They won 4-2 in the final against Providence College. So yeah, great game. An absolutely fantastic final. So if you do get a chance to watch it, it was on BBC Sport Northern Ireland. I don't know if it's available on any like playback or catch-up service anywhere, but if you get a chance, watch it. It was absolutely superb.
I mean, you sent us plenty of pictures and what have you from in our Cats Whiskers group.
Yeah.
From over the course of the weekend. Obviously, we're all disappointed you didn't get to hang a Barry Nycor shirt from the rafters. But what was the atmosphere around? Was it? I mean,
really good crowds. Good atmosphere. The Clarkson University band was there. Filling out just under one of the big screens in the SSC arena, and they were absolutely fantastic. Proper pet band, just there playing tunes. It was amazing.
And Jim had. Did you have a chance to catch up with?
I didn't.
With Jim in Rockies?
I didn't get a chance to go into Rockies because the thing is, we was doing quite long days, and by the time we finished, we just wanted to flop into the hotel bar, have a couple of drinks and then go to bed because we were working quite hard. We was there from Wednesday and Thursday setting up, and then Friday was the first broadcast, Saturday was the second broadcast, and then packing away at the end of it. So yeah, long days but well worth it. A fantastic tournament, and hopefully I'll be there again next year.
Well, I was just about to ask, did they give any indication that it'll be taking place next year?
Yes, it's already arranged for next year. With 2 big teams in it next year. Boston University will be there, and Yale University as well. So it should be another cracking tournament once again.
Well, there you go. Tina's got her flights booked then for it already. And back to you, Jono, for the rest of the news.
Yes, the rest of the news. So Kale Tanaka has made a return to the Elite League with the Braehead clan, the former Dundee Star, coming back to British ice hockey. Tina, you're delighted about that.
Yeah, absolutely delighted. Quick message to Evan Mosey. There's another beer in it for you, mate, if you punch him in the face.
No, leave him alone.
I don't want to leave him alone. He's one of those players that you want on your team, but you hate him when he's not. And I will continue to feel that way about him. I'm sure he will carry on as he left off with the last time we saw him. He's a very good player. Very, very dangerous if he catches you on a breakaway. Very nippy sort of guy. I don't. The clan need bodies. They have been absolutely crying out for their remaining imports to be signed so that they have a full team. This is a body that they need. They're sort of pulling some points together now. So he's coming into the team at the right sort of time. So hopefully he'll give them a bit of a boost and they can get competing, because it's a very odd looking table. That you've got 3 three Scottish teams that are sort of languishing towards the bottom. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Fife are doing their bit, so somebody else in the Gardner Conference needs to step it up. So yeah, it might as well be the Clan.
Final bit of news, the Belfast Giants have brought David Rutherford out of retirement. He of course played for them for the past 2 seasons, and he's back in a Giants uniform and apparently scored the overtime winner last night. So paying dividends already. And what do you make of Giants bringing Rutherford back?
Didn't they? He was the one they signed from Edinburgh, wasn't it?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, when Edinburgh did their mid-season releasing of players. He's a good player, and he's another body, and he's somebody that Belfast needed. He knows the systems, he knows the area, knows the team. It should be a good signing for them.
We shall leave the Elite League results and news there. We'll go on to our second set of player interviews from the Panthers from the quiz night last Tuesday. In this section, you'll hear from Robert Lakovic, Brett Polini, Raphael Bizier, Zach Phillips, and start with netminder Patrick Galbraith.
Just as he's about to exit the premises, I have managed to catch Patrick Galbraith. Patrick, you've come in a little bit late into the season. How are you finding working with 2 other netminders on the roster?
Well, so far it's been great. We all get along. We have a laugh every day, but we still try to get the work in. Just today we had a pretty tough one, but we all managed to get through it, and we're just trying to have fun with it.
So you had a bit of a baptism of fire because your first Panthers game was obviously the Turku game away. How was that for you?
That was my first game of the season, so it was there was a lot of sweat, but right now that seems like a century ago. I'm so much further along right now, and I wish I could get that game back right now in the shape I'm in now.
So how is the battle between the 3 of you? Is the competition sort of hot, or are you a little bit more friendly about it all?
I'd say it's pretty friendly, We haven't brought it up. It hasn't been brought up. I think you're the first one to ever ask me, so I haven't really thought about it. It's always Corey's decision, and we just have to make the best of it. And it's a team sport, so you have to be good teammates.
And as this is his first opportunity, I've had to ask, how are you finding Nottingham and the Nottingham Panthers?
I'm having a great time. This team is something special. I've nothing I'm proud of, but I've been on a lot of teams, and this is something special right here. So I think we got good things in store.
Yeah. And how are you settling into the city?
Oh, that's great too. I like big cities, so from a really small town, so living in the city center is just it's a great time for me, and I'm enjoying myself.
I'm with Mr. Overtime, Zach Phillips. Zach, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, yeah, it's been a pretty good start to the season so far. Any particular highlights?
The whole CHL run was really awesome for me, and that was probably my biggest highlight. That and my birthday, that was a fun game to play, and hearing the fans sing happy birthday to me after was pretty cool. So those are 2 big highlights for me.
And as Gary mentioned earlier, your dad's over for the week. So any plans to tour the city?
Yeah, we're going to walk around, do, like you said, a lot of the typical tourist stuff. We want to go to the Wayne Manor Castle thing.
Wollaton.
Yeah, there we go. That'll be pretty cool to see. And I think we're going to go to London for a day too, so he'll see a little bit more of the country.
Zach, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's much appreciated.
Yeah, no problem.
A well-deserved drink in hand for Raphael Bizier. Quiz night. It was pretty fun, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a good time. I don't think I helped my team, but because I probably answered one question and it was a wrong answer. But yeah, I had a good time, and everyone looked like they enjoyed themselves. And it's good to do that. The fans bring so much to the ring, so it's just good to give back and spend time with the fan. I think they deserve it. So it was a good night.
So far, we've seen you jumping around on different lines. How are you sort of settling in with your current line mates?
I mean, talked to Corey a couple of weeks ago. He just placed me back to center, which is I prefer playing center, and he put me with 2 really good players, Sasha and Zach, and lately we're doing pretty good. I think we bring a lot of offense to the team, a lot of offensive position. And we're just going to get better, and I think you like our line too. Curry really like our line, so I'm really happy with who I'm playing right now.
I've asked everybody else so far, practically. The CHL campaign, we had an absolute blast watching you guys, so I can only imagine that you had fun playing it.
Oh, it was amazing. We came in the tournament with no expectation to go through the first round, and then we just started getting really hot and beat all those great league, and then went to the knockout round, which is crazy for British hockey. And we had so much fun, and so I think it kind of bring us all together, and like we know, like just give us energy that we know now, like we focus on winning the league and winning the Challenger Cup and playoff. Like that's our goal now, and I think we have the team to do it, and we want to do it too.
I'm at the Panthers quiz night, and I've been rejoined by Brett Bellini. Brett, obviously last time we spoke we had the CHL to look forward to. Could we qualify? And we did. Other than the CHL run, have there been any particular highlights for you so far?
Obviously we've been doing well in the league too, so it's been fun. We've put together a few wins in a row here, so I think that's the biggest thing for me right now is playing well as a team, and we look to just keep that momentum going.
Have you settled in properly now? You're into your proper digs and what have you? And have you had a chance to see much of the city?
Yeah, I walk to the city quite often, and been to a lot of restaurants here now, and been to a few golf courses. So it's been a lot of fun for me. I mean, there's still a lot to do and a lot to see, but I feel like I'm comfortable now. And
are you tapping up your brother to maybe come and sub in for us for a couple of games when we get a few injuries next season, later on in the season?
Yeah, no, I talked to him often. He's doing really well now. Their team won 3 games in a row, which is good to see after a tough start. They just had a Canadian road trip, which a lot of my family got to the games, and it's nice to bounce ideas off him. Obviously, he's playing at a high level every night, so it's good. It's good that we're close and we get to talk often.
Just before he leaves, and he is the last man standing, I've managed to get a word with Rob Lakovic. So, Rob, very first question I want to ask you. That goal on Sunday, talk us through it.
Me and Ollie have been playing with each other, not just the last couple of weeks. We seem to click, we're doing well in practice, and in the games we've been playing a lot in their end rather than our end, which is always a positive sign, and it's been working. And I mean, it's nice to get a goal on Bouncy, having played against him forever. He normally comes out on top, but thankfully I did this time. But pretty happy with it.
Yeah, we seem to be reviving an old hashtag just lately. How do you feel about that? You know which one I'm talking about as well, don't you?
I do know which one you're on about. I'm happy to have that going again, as long as it means I'm scoring goals.
Yeah. Now, bit of an odd position for Panthers at the moment. We are top of the league this side of Christmas. It's a good feeling, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Obviously, we've not been there the past few years, but it's good to be on top. I saw Corey said it in the Evening Post the other day. Like, it's different for us, and usually it is nice to be the underdog, like we saw in the Champions League. But once you're on top, it builds your confidence, and hopefully we build even more on it and stay up there.
Who's better at golf, you or Aaron Lord?
He tries hard. I mean, maybe I'll edge it every now and then, but I'm more of a... He texted me the other day, actually. We're fair weather golfers, so this time of year, neither of us are any good, I don't think.
That's almost a very political answer. Looking forward to Saturday's game. I mean, by the time we sort of get this out, it'll be Monday, and we'll be looking back on it. Yeah, but rumours are abound, as we have already qualified, and I have said this to a couple of other players this evening. There are rumours abound that Sam may get a start. I won't ask you to confirm or deny it, but does that change the way that you play in front of any particular goalie, or is it just business as usual?
No, business as usual. We've got 3 very good goalies. Sam's not had the chance so far to play in many games, but we see him on practice every day, and he's up there with those 2 goalies, and he's learning from them, and I think he deserves his opportunity, and I'm sure he'll take it.
And just a quick word for your, seems to be cemented as your line mate at the moment in Ollie Betteridge.
Yeah.
You and him seem to be getting a very good chemistry together, and we're also seeing him getting some special teams time, same as as yourself has been building up over the last few years. How's he getting on with that?
He's coping well, and he's earned it. And I mean, it feels like we're the same age, but he's about 6 years younger than me, and he's still only 21, 22 years old, and he's good enough to play in those situations, and he's proved that he's done well, and he worked so hard that he's deserved it, and he's doing well, and I'm sure he'll stay on the special teams.
Yeah, and I mean it's a really funny thing actually, the interview that Callum did with Schaller, when Callum was referring to yourself and Ollie as the young Brits, and Schaller actually pointed out you're probably older than him. It's odd to because you've been playing for the Panthers for so long. It's easy for us to forget that you're probably not one of the youngsters anymore. You're probably creeping into into veteran territory, and we give it a few years, we're probably talking about testimonial territory, aren't we?
Yeah, it's, I still see myself as a young Brit on the team, but this is the first year I've been older than most of the guys here. It's quite nice because usually I am a lot younger than the rest of the players, but this year we've got such a young team, and I think it helps with the chemistry of the team. Everyone's the same age, we all grow up doing the same things, and it is kind of weird. I've seen the veteran status thrown around a little bit, but I mean, if I'm playing with Ollie, I feel like I'm 21 again, so I don't mind that.
Many thanks to all the players for giving us their time to talk to us, and also many thanks to Panthers, and especially Callum, for arranging players to talk to us and giving us permission to talk to the players at the quiz night. It is very much appreciated, as always. Okay, we're going to look ahead to the weekend. Panthers with 2 Elite League games. On Saturday night, they take on the Sheffield Steelers in the first home league game of the season. That'll be a 7 p.m. face-off at the NIC. Ant, the quick ticket update on that one, please.
When I checked, just as we were going on air, there was literally 7 tickets left in the away section and 3 tickets left in the home section. That's in the bowl. I didn't check the suites, so it looks like a sellout for Saturday.
On Sunday, Panthers travel to Braehead to take on the Clan. That is a 6 p.m. face-off at the shopping centre. But we'll start with Saturday night. Panthers against Sheffield, a sellout as usual. Tina, Sheffield with a 7-2 hammering and then a 3-1 victory over the Blaze on Sunday. Are they right for the taking at the minute?
No. No, never ever underestimate the Sheffield Steelers. Yes, they had a bit of a hammering down in Milton Keynes, but like we said, it happens. We've been on the receiving end of some pretty squeaky scorelines ourselves. So, no, I don't think so. I don't think they're right for the taking. I think maybe had they lost as well against the Blaze, we might have had a little bit of cause to get excited. But above all else, they are our closest rivals. It's always a heated game. I mean, the only thing that might swing it in our favour is if they are short on bodies. There's no word on whether Fitzgerald is going to be fit to play, so they could be a bit shy of players on defence. They're not making any noises about getting anybody else in, so who knows? That could be a possibility. That is something that could swing in our favour. And if there is an advantage to be had, we should blooming well take it and blooming well exploit it, because our record against them is awful, frankly.
And how do you see this one going?
Probably the opposite to how I put my bet on, as is standard. We're down bodies potentially, they're down bodies. But you know what? We could be flying and 100% record in the league, and they could be dog dirt, or vice versa. It doesn't matter when it comes to these games. Everything gets thrown out the window. So I hope it's a good game. I mean, we've had far too many lacklustre games against them, and we've talked endlessly about the amount of times we play them in a season, and is it killing the rivalry? I just hope it's an entertaining barn burner of a game, and I can't imagine Fitzgerald's going to play for them unless he's going to come out in a full mask. So that's a big loss for them. We've got to take advantage. We've got to beat them while they're going through this phase of not performing.
Yeah. Okay. Sunday night, Panthers travel to Braehead to take on the Clan. I mean, Tina, we've got a good record against the Clan this season in Braehead with a Challenge Cup victory. They obviously beat us in the league game down here in Nottingham. They seem to be picking up form, and as we've already talked about, Kale Tanaka will probably be making his debut for them. That's not going to be an easy one.
No, well, it never is. And as you've already said, they have taken points off us already this season. When everybody else seemed to be taking easy wins from them because they were struggling. We didn't take points off them when we had the best opportunity to do so, and like you say, they appear to be starting to get a bit of momentum, bit of form together. So it's there's the journey up there, and the crowds in Braehead, I understand, are still quite they're still getting good crowds, so it can make a difference. I mean, Delego said it in the Evening Post. Our crowds make a difference for them. Same goes for the vociferous home crowds in Scotland. So our record against them, in previous previous seasons, it's in our favour, but that it doesn't mean anything. Teams tend to get a bit of a boost when a new player comes in, when they've been under the cosh a little bit, and they get a new face in, somebody who can maybe stir things up a little bit on the ice and take a bit of pressure off the guys who have really been leaned on during the less fruitful times. So yeah, I wouldn't like to call it. I wouldn't like to call it. I'd like to think that we can go up there and learn from our experience against a Scottish team this past weekend. But it's a difficult one. Thankfully, none of us will be able to watch the horror unfold, seeing as though us and Braehead are still not embracing the 21st century and still not doing webcasts. So fingers crossed there's some updaters up there.
Okay, and it's never an easy place to go to, but you would think on current form it should be somewhere we're looking to get 2 points.
You say that, but Clan have put together some results recently, haven't they, themselves, and they had a better weekend than we did. So I think obviously we've got a very tough game Saturday, and then we've got the travel, like Tina said. So overtime win maybe.
Well, we have picked up a penchant for overtime throughout this season. We shall see what happens over the weekend, and we will talk about them on next week's podcast. But that is it for this week. Just to remind you that Ask TCW will be back on Wednesday. We will have another guest in the form of Elite League media man Rob McGregor, so please get your questions in if they are specifically for Rob about Elite League media or anything generally hockey related. You can do so via Twitter at CatsWhiskersTV. Please use the hashtag AskTCW. Via the various Panthers groups on Facebook, the TCW Facebook page, the Cage Forum, where we have a dedicated thread, or email, it's tcwonlinetv@gmail.com. As I say, that will be on Wednesday, but for now it's time to say goodbye and thank you very much to Tina Taylor,
TCFM,
and Antoine Marie-Jeanne.
Just less than 300 tickets left for Christmas game against Steelers, guys. Get them in now or risk losing out. Take care.
Thank you very much. We will be back on Wednesday, but until then, thank you and goodbye. This edition of the Cat's Whiskers podcast was brought to you by the Bunkers Hill Hockley.